Welcome again to another episode of Witchy Wednesdays. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am so happy you're here. I hope you check out all the wonderful fall and Halloween ideas I have for the season. Well, let's get started with our first idea for a wreath, shabby chic style with our own enchantress, Aurora. Well, sometimes people call me a fairy godmother. Other times people call me a witch. I named the character Aurora after my own mom, Aurora, who loved all things lovely and sparkly. And this wreath reminds me of autumn leaves that decided to take a ride on the autumn winds up to the moon, and they're sparkled in the moonlight. I know, overly romantic, but I don't know. You'll see when I'm done with it exactly what I mean. Now, lucky for me, I'm not a very organized person. Therefore, I don't put all of my Christmas stuff away where it should go, in the shed. So this was just like, I don't know, hanging out in the craft room in boxes. And I decided, wow, how beautiful. I love these iridescent branches of these little Christmas trees. So I'm going to join these two Christmas trees just using the same wire that is on the tree itself and a little bit of hot glue, as you can see. And I am going to make a crescent moon using these beautiful pastel florals from the Dollar Tree. Florals? That's a weird way of saying florals. Florals? Yes, from the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree florals. That's weird. Anyway, here I am holding it together for a very long time. And now I'm just going to wrap around the branches and get started with floofing. Now, using some Plaid family of products, I'm going to be using Folk Art Glitterific and Hologram, and these dragonfly paints, also from Folk Art. They are amazing to add an iridescent glow to these beautiful pastel leaves from the Dollar Tree. I had them in different colors with the purple, and I also had just the plain hologram that looks like snow. So this is so perfect. Now, I'm going to use Color Shift for my pumpkins. So I have Color Shift in like a gray, blue, and this beautiful orange. What perfect colors for this shabby chic, iridescent. Oh, I'm falling in love with this project as I watch it again. I love it. But look at how beautifully and soft these colors are. And it has this iridescent shift when you move the actual pumpkin from side to side. You see it glows. It's not necessarily metallic. It's like a soft glow. Now I'm going to start attaching all of these beautiful leaves to the Christmas trees. Now again, I took a pick of the blue, a pick of the purple, and a pick of the cream colored leaves. I think it was just with 3 picks. I might have used 4. I'm not exactly sure. But again, it's still very inexpensive for the final product, how it looks. It really looks like something from a very specialized shabby chic boutique. Oh my gosh, did I say that? I said sheet. Shabby chic. Oh Lord, be careful with your shabby chics. Anyway, here I'm using my Sure-Bonder glue gun. And I was the Sure-Bonder maker of the month for the month of August. If you haven't checked that out, check them out on Instagram and you can see some of my posts and some of my story with Sure-Bonder. Yes, I love my Sure-Bonder. I don't like the glue gun burns, but the glue works. It works very well. I have to say, there is a big difference in glue sticks. So here I am, I really enjoyed. Can you tell I enjoy making these crafts? I really do. I spend a lot of time prepping and then putting it together. But it's such a nice thing to do on, it was a rainy afternoon here in Miami, so I really just enjoyed creating this beautiful crescent moon wreath. I just wanted to make something very different for you all, so I hope you enjoy it. There you have it. Look at it. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I also found these little fuzzy balls. I know. Don't stop. I did. At the Dollar Tree, they have these little fuzzy balls. I don't know what to call them. They're like little fuzzy balls. In the final reveal, I did add some beautiful fairy lights that I received from Olafus. I really love these fairy lights. They're much longer length, and brighter than the ones that you would find at the Dollar Tree, and actually just as inexpensive. A set of 16 comes out to like $16, $17. With free shipping on Amazon, it can't be beat. Check out the final result of this Shabby Chic Harvest Moon. Shall we get ready for fall? Ooh, I know a little magic I can do. All right, now let's get started on our Cottagecore Wreath. First thing, I'm going to use one of those little houses that I probably used in another project and I'm just tearing it apart now. And these wonderful, I love this paper. It's like wallpaper, I suppose. And they're at the Dollar Tree and they have different kinds of wood grain and tiles. It's really nice. And it's peel and stick, so it can't be easier. Anyway, and the little house is also from Dollar Tree, as well as that beautiful little doorway that you see below. It's a fairy doorway, and you can find that also at Dollar Tree. So many wonderful things at Dollar Tree this fall. You should really check it out. So I am just replacing the back of this little house just to make it look more woodsy and cottagey, I suppose. And then I decided to paint it a little bit because it was too light, like the wood colors were too light. And I wanted to kind of match that little wooden door that I'm going to use as the entryway to this little itty bitty cottage. So the inspiration for this wreath is just using my imagination, thinking of a forest filled with autumn leaves that are falling down to the ground, and suddenly you discover as you're leafing through these beautiful leaves. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but you know, rummaging through these little leaves, you find a little doorway. Could it be a fairy, a little gnome? What kind of magical creature would live in this tiny little home tucked away amongst the autumn leaves on the ground of a forest? I know, I'm just being creative. I like to tell you guys little stories. I would love to read like a bedtime story for you guys. Maybe during Christmas time we'll have a pajama night. You guys can listen to me read stories. Okay, so let's get back to the craft here. So I'm using one of those little wooden things. It's a stick or a whatever. It's a stumpy. It's a baby stumpy. And I'm gonna put the little doorway on top of the baby stumpy because I thought it was too low in the house. And I'm going to actually cover it. It's going to look like a step, but I'm actually going to cover that with my nemesis yet once again, moss. Oh my goodness, there's moss all over my floor. There's moss inside my door. There's moss over here and moss over there and moss, oh everywhere. Why do we have so much moss? I guess 'cause for cottagecore it's boss. We gotta find some other thing to use because this moss is driving me nuts. Anyway, that's my moss song. I don't know, I might change it, but yeah, it's, you know, and oh my gosh, the other struggle I have. Oh my gosh, this Cottagecore Wreath. So the other struggle I have is raffia. Guys, give me some hints and tips and tricks. I watch other people use raffia and it doesn't give them half as much trouble as it gives me. Why is raffia so difficult? I mean, my goodness, I cut, like, look at it, goes all over the place. Again, with the moss. Raffia and moss, they met, got married, and just made a mess all over the floor of my craft room. But here I am using that raffia as the roof to my little cottage. I think it's looking so cute. I really like it. I mean, I will suffer for moss and glitter and raffia just as long as it turns out cute like this. By the way, is it wrong to be calling your own stuff cute? I mean, this is my estimation. You know, when I'm doing this and I'm watching it again, I was like, you know, I had so much fun. I just have so much fun crafting. Can you tell? I love it. I mean, truly. I'm doing this every night, every night during the week. This is what I do. I sit and I craft after a long day of work. And it's just so gratifying. You know what it is? As a crafter, you know what it's like. It's like you take bits of this and bits of that, and then you create something and you're stunned. You sit there and you're like, did I do that? Like, you have an Urkel moment. Like, did I do that? Look at that. Look at that little house. Did I do that? Yes, I did. I watched myself do it right now. But it's nice to have those little Urkel moments and really just surprise yourself with, you know, skills that you acquire throughout the year. Now I'm attaching this wired twine to the bottom of my little cottage. This twine covered wire is perfect to connect my little cottage to my wreath. Oh, and let's talk about my wreath here. This is a Grapevine wreath. You can find it at most craft stores. I reuse my Grapevine wreaths because they run anywhere between $7 to $15 depending on the size and where you buy it and all that stuff. But I'm just, you know, I don't want a lot of wreaths hanging around the house. It's just too many. Although, you know, I usually take my wreaths apart, but these wreaths, I am not taking these apart. I am definitely not taking this one apart. Now I'm using a popsicle stick because, you know, that little door is a little heavy and it was going to start to droop over. So I'm using the popsicle stick to steady the little cottage or the cottage entryway onto the wreath. And it worked perfect. Those popsicle sticks, man. You know, this is not for an entry or anything for any kind of competition, but tell me what's the most useful craft tool or craft item that you have in your craft room. I mean, is it your glue gun? Is it as easy as that? Or is it popsicle sticks? Or is it Jenga blocks? What is that go-to little item that you just, you know, it always comes in handy to have around the house. Oh my gosh, and did you see these tiny little sunflowers? Oh my goodness. Yes, I used it in the little blue truck, and I'm using it here because those little sunflowers are just gorgeous. Now I added some vines to it, and I added some more moss. I also added some of those little mushrooms. Those little mushrooms are also, or toadstools, are also from the Dollar Tree. They come plain, and then I painted them. If you want to see how I did that, I did it in a previous video that came out on this past week. Here's a link, and so you can check out how I made those little toadstools. Once again, using those Dollar Tree florals and leaves and garlands and just gorgeous colors that they have this year at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, you have hit it out of the park. So I am just adding oak leaves and maple leaves and little seeds or whatever they call them, those little seed pods. But these colors are so natural looking compared to others. It's just beautiful. These burgundies and these deep golden browns and, you know, the faded greens, just beautiful. Now I'm using this wonderful tulle ribbon also from the Dollar Tree, and it's so cool because it looks like it's speckled. It's almost looks like it's speckled with like moss or pollen or something, you know, something that you would find on the ground of a forest once again. I mean, just so beautiful, and again, light and ethereal to finish off my little Cottagecore wreath. Check out the final reveal so you can see it in all its glory. I love dark academia and all things gothic and beautiful. I have to agree with Rain. I have such an affinity to this dark academia aesthetic. It's kind of like cottagecore, but darker. And instead of being in a cottage somewhere, you're actually in a mysterious library tucked away or a bookstore, you know, up in New England on a rainy, cloudy day. And you find yourself at a broken window. This is the storyline for this wreath. Yes, the wreaths have a storyline. And in that broken window is a raven that has found its way to the bookshop, high in the alcoves of the bookshop, and there created a nest, gathering items of old frames and pieces of old curtains, beautiful tapestry curtains. And of course, it took books and used it to create its nest, as you'll see. And one book in particular that's going to be the inspiration for this wreath, of course, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. You can't get more dark academia than Edgar Allan Poe, folks. Seriously. Now, I'm keeping all of those cuttings of the book pages, and you'll see why in just a minute. And here I found this image. I don't think I found it on Graphics Fairy, I'll be very honest. But I think maybe I did. I think I did. You know, I'm going to say I found it on Graphics Fairy because I'm almost sure that I did. I think I looked around and I finally decided to go to Graphics Fairy and say Raven. And I found this beautiful image, which is going to be the cover of our book that's going to be included on our wreath. Next, of course, we have to make this nest for this lovely little raven. And I'm just using some of that coconut shreds from summertime, and I'm going to add more moss. This moss, oh my gosh, what is it with me and moss this year? It's everywhere, but it's part of the cottagecore look and darkest. I don't know. I like it. Don't get me wrong. It's just like I love glitter. I hate the mess. I love moss. I hate the mess. And we're not talking about moss from the It Crowd. Guys, if you ever are bored and want to watch a funny show, watch the It Crowd on Netflix. It's very, very funny. And in case you're wondering, yes, there's a character in the show whose name is Moss. Don't ask me why, but he's very clever, very funny. Richard Ayoade. And here's a little picture of him so you can see it. Now, I'm adding pieces of the book that was torn to shreds by the Raven. And guess which book he tore to shreds? Yes, that's right. The one written by Edgar Allan Poe. How ironic it is, isn't it? Yes, there he is. Look how cute he is. So he just ripped apart pieces of that little book that he found and added it to his nest. He's a very literary raven. You can't fault him for that. And one of the last pieces he ripped from that book was the quote that the raven says, "Nevermore." I just thought that was so cute. I love this. Oh my gosh, look at the mess. More of a mess. Now, look at this, guys. I'm using that square wreath form, wire form, whatever. And I'm using this. This is what you usually use to cover cords. Look at me using my computer to cover cords. And I got this on sale for like 75% off at Hobby Lobby. And I was like, how am I going to use this? But it's perfect. It's burlap and it covers perfectly. So that's what I used. Next, I bought yards and yards and yards of this beautiful tapestry fabric. It's not tapestry. What is this called? I don't know what it's called. It's like a Baroque kind of fabric. What's the name of this fabric, guys? If you know, answer below, because I need to learn. And I thought it would be so cute as to the premise of my story, where this raven like made himself a nest in an old window that still had some of this, curtain covering. But of course, it's from a very elegant and distinguished home. So of course, we have a very elegant and distinguished, raven as part of this decor. So using the wire, the twine covered wire, I attached this curtain to the wreath form. I really love this square wreath form. I don't see it very often at the Dollar Tree, but I think I have 2 of them. So I usually buy 2. Guys, if you go to the Dollar Tree, always buy 2 of whatever you're going to buy. If you're going to buy 1, buy 2. If you're going to buy 3, buy 5. If you're going to buy 5, buy 10. I don't know. That's my rule. Now, I'm using this old plastic frame from one of those Halloween like fake mirror things that they have. I don't know if they have them this year, but this is from last year. So again, I'm going to use that twine and I'm going to attach my little nest to the branch that's actually peeking through the window. And there I'm going to have my little raven rest himself in his little nest. Rest in his nest. I am really loving this wreath as well. Sadly, though, I don't know if I would use this wreath outside simply because of the fabric that's being used between the burlap and the curtain fabric. Oh, wait. And then I used, look at this massive tassel. I found a massive tassel at Hobby Lobby, again on clearance, 75% off, so I got it for 99 cents. And that beautiful rope that you usually use to hold back the curtains, I don't know what it's called, pullback rope or whatever, but it's this beautiful gold rope that I found, and I said, oh, this is just lovely for this beautiful Baroque looking or Victorian type looking wreath. It's a very Victorian looking wreath, I have to say. I love that little raven sitting in his nest that's filled with some literary scraps, and of course pulling apart the book The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. As a last minute, I decided to add some more embellishments. I created this little round. It had a bat in it before, and so I just changed it out with a little raven picture on some book pages. Again, I believe this is from Graphics Fairy. So check out Graphics Fairy for all your fall and Halloween needs, especially for dark academia and gothic decor. And there you have it. Again, check out the final reveal I love this one. So pretty. Let's get some vintage Halloween. Alrighty, for my vintage witch look, I guess for my vintage retro witch Rita, I decided to again find these wonderful Christmas trees. Oh my goodness, if you guys find these Halloween Christmas trees, you are very, very, very lucky, and buy 10. I think I bought 6. I should have bought 10. See, the rule that I have. Anyway, it's wonderful because it's orange and black. It's very, I just love it. Even if you don't use it as a Christmas tree, what a wonderful way to use it as a wreath. I say that about my own stuff. Isn't that terrible? I'm just like, what an ecomaniac I am. What a wonderful way. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm the only one that ever used it. No, I'm sure other people use Christmas trees to make wreaths, but I haven't seen anybody use it yet for Halloween because this is the first time that Dollar Tree has had these Halloween Christmas trees. I did not see it last year, at least here down in South Florida. They didn't have it, but it's just gorgeous. And of course, we got to add some mesh. Mesh and me, let's mesh together. Such a mesh we make. No, mesh and I do not get along very well. It gets stuck on stuff. I don't know how to work with mesh. Are you a mesh master? Tell me if you're a mesh master. I'm asking a lot of questions out there, so hey, keep on your toes, but I would love to know who out there is a mesh master and give me a tip or trick so that I will want to use mesh more often. And here I cut up some of that orange mesh. If you notice, if I had 4 trees, it would have been perfect. I didn't want to use all my trees. I used only 3 trees, and 2 rolls of mesh. I don't know, maybe I was being chintzy. I didn't want to use all my trees in one wreath. But I did like the way these little curly orange, I don't know, these little, the mesh orange things. I don't know, it came out really cute. Now, look at these, I love these. These are the stakes that they have at the Dollar Tree, but they're so vintage. I love the image of this cat. Look at the image of this wonderful skeleton with the little top hat on. And finally, a pumpkin in a bowler hat. Can we get any more Victorian vintage, retro? I love this, and it reminds me of images that I would see around my house and my school when I was a little kid. They still use these kind of things. I still remember those plastic popcorn forms. Oh my gosh, that's all my mom used to decorate her house when I was little. Our house, I should say. She loved Halloween. My mom really did love Halloween. She loved coming over to my house to see all the Halloweeny things I made. So I hope she is watching this with a smile on her face, and I do miss her. I don't want to get talking about her because I do get very sad, but I also have to remember that she is with the greatest, being in this world, which is God himself. So, she's up there and watching over me. So I hope she felt a little nostalgic. I felt very nostalgic making this and thinking of her. So I can't help it. I have to share it with you guys. Anyway, life must continue, as she would be very proud of me as I continue working and creating. And I just wish she would come and steal this wreath. If not, I will definitely hand this over to Manny. If not, I'll make another one because I really, 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 really love this. Now I'm using that beautiful orange and black Harlequin ribbon from last year. I haven't seen it this year yet. They haven't put it out in my stores. I'm sure other people have seen it. If you see it, again, if you're gonna buy 1, buy 2. If you're gonna buy 1, buy 3. If you're gonna buy 3, buy 7. That kind of thing. So here I am adding the bow to that very vacant area that didn't have the Christmas tree to cover it, and it just works just fine because I really didn't need the Christmas tree in that area because, again, we're gonna cover it with a bow and the mesh. And here I am adding the white and black Harlequin. Again, I got this from Dollar Tree last year, not Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree. And again, if it comes out this year, I'm going to buy a bundle of it too. And all I have to do now is attach the bow, and we are pretty much done. Again, let's check out the final reveal so you can see how beautiful these wreaths will look for fall and Halloween. Thank you again for stopping by. If you enjoyed this, please think of subscribing and liking and even sharing this with your friends. Again, this is going to be a series I'm doing all throughout fall and Halloween, Witchy Wednesdays, reviewing shabby chic, cottagecore, dark academia, and vintage retro styles. Thanks again for stopping by, and as I always say to my friends, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure. See you soon. Want it that way. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why. I never wanna hear you say I want it that way.